Hi, I'm Sophie, and I haven't seen a lot of films.
Hi, I'm Paul, and I'm here to help with that. And we are
SP Film Viewers.
Yeah, boy. That's the name of the film we're going to be talking about.
Yeah, boy.
No, just boy.
Okay. Anything more than that?
Yeah, it's a very simple title, I'll admit.
Bit lazy.
But
Is that his name?
I would believe so. Yeah, I'm assuming it's just a nickname. I don't know if it's
Not really a nickname, is it? It's just showing what his gender is. I mean, it's a bit like. How old is the film?
It came out in 2010, so it's not that progressive. That
I'm going to say, like, now if you're like gender neutral, you couldn't just call him boy.
No. But it's directed by Taika Waititi, who we know for Jojo Rabbit and Thor Ragnarok.
So a bit of comedy.
Yep, and also another episode we've done, Hunt for the Wilder People.
Hottie.
Hot water bottle.
Hottie.
Ricky Baker.
Yeah. I liked that one.
Yeah.
He was a cute little kid, and then he came into Spider-Man, didn't he? Didn't he the chubby Spider-Man friend? No.
No. He's he was in that. He's in Deadpool 2.
Ah, that's why I'm getting
He was the
confused.
angry-
Super films.
Super films.
I know, I just said that and I thought, I'm just going to make it sound like that's what I meant to say. I'll go with it. You know what I mean, though? Like Avenger.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Them
But
films.
This one, I've wanted to see for a while, actually. I think it's basically sort of like a coming-of-age story, and they're normally quite entertaining in their own right, the kind of humour.
I think it's more relatable, I guess, for you if it's showing him growing up as a young boy, I guess. More of an aspect of that. I always feel like I really enjoy seeing a female perspective of that. Like, my equivalent at the moment that I think, even though it was animated, was Big Red.
Turning Red,
yeah.
Yeah.
And becoming a panda every time.
Yeah, I'll agree for,
Hey! But it is true, and I think it's a really good symbol of that.
Yeah.
And I think that's how I feel for a woman coming of age is a lot more scary than a man's coming of age.
Yeah. So. But this one, from what I read on the synopsis, which reads, a New Zealand youth finds that his father, who's played by Taika Waititi, is a far cry from the heroic adventurer he's imagined the man to be. So,
what is it with dads being always a disappointment? You never hear the mum being the problem, do you?
It's almost like a cliche thing, isn't it? Really, like the overlay about dad, and it's like, I'm just off chasing tail or seeking out fortunes and wanting.
I think men are just more greedy.
Yeah, history kind of does say that, or show that rather. Women
are a lot more simplistic and are happier with a family and a home and a house and value what they've got, really. I think a man always wants to strive for better. Not saying a woman doesn't, but I think the way you go about it, just not on a whim and a prayer.
Yeah, but it should be good. Because I like most of his other work. I wasn't a big fan of Thor, Love and Thunder.
No, Ragnarok's good though.
Yeah.
Really enjoyed that.
Yeah, it's good. And Jojo Rabbit really like.
I actually think I preferred the
Wilder People.
Yeah. I think I did. I think the humour on there for me was dry and witty, and so I'm hoping it's on the similar line.
Yeah. I would think so.
Because you know what I'm like with humour.
First one, maybe, possibly. I've got a feeling it might be if it's not his debut film. It's like a second one or something. I don't know.
Fingers crossed. It won't be too cringy then if he hasn't got the comedy right. If it's newish, we'll see.
Yeah. Right, we'll be back with our thoughts very soon.
Dad, do you know what potential means?
What?
Mr. Langston says
Cut it out, you pricks! Quit pissing around!
Dad, what are you gonna do with the money?
I don't know. What do you reckon?
You should buy a big ass house.
Maybe I should. Maybe I should buy me a dolphin too, ride around on him all day. You can have one too. And Rocky? Yeah, all three of us on dolphins. Could go anywhere. Do what we want. Be anyone.
And we're back. And do you think this is one of Taika Waititi's best films?
Compared to Hot Totty or Hot Botty?
The Wilder People, the other films that we've seen, which...
I don't know, I still feel like Wilder People at the moment is still up there a little bit for me.
Okay, well, I mean, when we come to the score at the end, it'll be interesting to...
I can't remember what I scored that.
So, based on that information, but I know I said on the pre-ramble about how I wasn't sure whether this was his first film. It wasn't his first film.
Okay,
there was a film before it called Eagle versus Shark.
It sounds rubbish.
I looked at it's posted as people in costumes. It's not actually. God. It's not like a mega shark and giant octopus type of thing. Like,
but that sounds even worse now you're saying it's not in outfits. Makes it sound like it's one of those kind of overrated comical kind of.
All right, I don't know. Just by the poster, I haven't really looked more into it other than that. I think it's just like a costume party thing, and that's like a relationship comes from that, I think. But this is also New Zealand based. What do you think? But yeah, so other than that one, we've pretty much watched everything that he's done feature film wise now.
It's impressive.
Except for this one that's coming out in 2023 called Next Goal Wins, but I think that's like a sports documentary.
Your face,
one,
like,
so
I don't like sports, so we won't be watching that one. That's fine.
Yeah. But I did really quite enjoy what this had to offer, really. The humour and everything was pretty good.
It was in certain parts, and I think it worked really well. There was a little bit at the end with, like, the fight scene with his dad, and it was a little bit like a dance kind of scenario, which was a bit of boys kind of envisioning what his dad should be like compared to what actually reality is, which worked well. But initially, when you don't know what that is, and it's just starting off where the dancing around fighting, it was a little bit like, what the hell's going on? And I was like, oh God, don't tell me we're going down that route of humour, which I wouldn't like, where it's cringy. And it was a little bit until they got beaten up, and I was like, okay, it's alright.
Okay, it's alright. Got his, what's coming to him.
Yeah. Then I was okay with it again.
Okay. Right.
But initially I was like, oh, is this going to spoil it for me?
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
But the humour is quite hard for me to be one of those that says, oh, humour is great on certain things. So for me to say, actually, I enjoyed most of the humour, that's like a big achievement.
Yeah, that's got to be a big selling point for you on that.
Yeah.
Regard. And a lot of the humour, obviously, it's just more like just how, obviously, the thing is the accent is kind of like funny. Just the way they say certain, like, are you egg? And just the
idiot.
Way, yeah, instead of that. And just the other little phrases and stuff that they come out with. And just how it's like delivered. It's almost like how we might find British humour more amusing, because obviously we know what
it means.
That's standard
related to.
Yeah, relatable. But there's something about just the dialect of it. It's just kind of amusing.
It is, but I do think Boy is quite hard to understand because he's trying to be cool at the same time, and also he's got an accent, and it's just like, what are you actually trying to say? And he mumbles kind of a bit because he's acting confident, but actually he's not very confident at all. Bless him. And you kind of, I think with Boy, you love him / hate him a little bit. Is that kind of character where you feel sorry for him because he has got a lot of responsibilities for a little child, basically. He's looking after everybody else while his grandma
is going to a funeral, yeah.
And his dad is basically a child, and sadly his mum has passed away when trying to give birth to his youngest brother.
Rocky, yeah.
And Boy is the one who is the man of the house. He has to look after them, take care of them while his nan's not there. He feels like he's got that level of responsibility, and it's a lot of pressure to put on a little boy. But at the same time, he thinks he's the cock of the shop. He's really cool and all of that, and kind of a bit can come across arrogant when his dad comes around. And I think his dad's a bad influence on him.
Yeah, it's that false idolization of what his dad, all these stories and from God knows where really, but maybe it's just kind of slightly imaginary exaggeration, or it's somebody's maybe said something and he's kind of just blown it out of proportion a little bit. But I don't really find him to be like hate him.
It's not really a hate, but it's more like I don't like how you're acting now because of your dad and being under the influence of like, oh no, I'm hard.
Yeah, but I think that's just how the young.
It's not his fault. It's more his dad's kind of lack of being there as a father figure. And then when he is around, it's more like a friend, and he wants to be in his gang and be cool, like his dad.
Don't call me dad, call me Shogun instead, like a bit more like a more badass kind of title.
Which is awful because he is his dad.
Yeah.
I did at one point wonder if actually this person wasn't his dad and he's just showing up trying to find the money.
Yeah. Could have gone down that avenue, to be fair.
To be honest, the amount of money that they were trying to find wasn't a lot. Not saying it, obviously, it is.
Well, it might have been it was set in 80s, because there was obviously Michael Jackson was a big thing in this, so...
yeah, that's true. And the way they even said Michael Jackson, the way that boy says it, it's like, I can't even do it. But it's like a deep, and it's not Michael.
Michael? What? No.
Yeah, it's something
like
similar,
that.
yeah. Which is quite funny, actually, but you're right, probably £800 back in the day, in the 80s.
Well, Australian dollars, well, that's probably a lot more.
Oh, New Zealand, wasn't it?
New Zealand dollars, or even, sorry.
Yeah. So it could actually be worth something, but obviously nowadays it's still a nice, pretty penny, but it doesn't get you far.
No.
And with what Shotgun was wanting to do with it.
Shogun.
Shotgun. With what Shogun was wanting to do with it, I don't know really what his intentions were. Like,
I don't think he had really a goal either, because like you say, he's a bit of a man-child in a sense as well. Kind of just like, the man's getting me down, kind of the government or whatever, and it's like...
I think he just likes to blame things, like anything but himself.
Pretty much, yeah. And a bit of a lay about, like, his mates, if you want to call them that, like, you dig in this field and try and find the thing. I'll just sit on the ground and have a smoke of my spliff and everything, yeah.
Yeah, but he kind of gets his upcomings anyways on that, doesn't he, in the end, to be fair. Yeah,
so it's, for the dad, who's called Alan Main, and so his boy, his actual name is called Alan Main, so I don't know why it's, I guess like Alan Main Jr. or something like that, but it's just called Boy, but it's because of the name of a place within New Zealand area, I think it's what it's based off, what I gathered from the beginning. But when Boy is like doing his like intro in front of the class to everybody, it's almost like for the audience's benefit really, of like, I'm Boy and this is what my interests are and all that kind of stuff, like my family and stuff, kind of like a brief overview of stuff, so it kind of gets to the point with that, so it's kind of good really in that sense. And then like you're saying about like his big passion of Michael Jackson, I don't know what it is, why he's so intrigued with Michael Jackson. I know Michael Jackson was big pop star, back then. Yeah. But also I didn't know he would be one to idolise and want to be mimicked. Yeah, I like that bit with when he's trying to impress that girl in the Chardonnay, she's called. You want to see my moves? Yeah, my Michael Jackson moves. And then they're really rubbish. Like, it's really like, it's really funny. Okay. Visual, comedic scene there. But also there's no music as well, so it just kind of looks like he's shuffling. Moving. Trying to shuffle. Yeah, do the moonwalk, but bless him. You do think he tries really hard with everything and wants to please everybody and be friends with them and be the cool kind of kid, but sadly he's not, and his values aren't actually there. By the end of the film you realise he's more of a family person, more orientated that way, and I think that's how he'll grow up. And sadly, well, if his dad is still there or not is kind of left imaginary. I know he ends there at the end, but is he going to stick around? Is it going to be that they're just actually assuming he's there as well? Because childlike imagination does play a lot on this. Like they say, he's a samurai and he's gone to Japan. And no, I think if you're on about the very end, we'll kind of jump that. Yeah. But I think he's there. It's just that again, Boy was kind of just trying to break it gently to him to his brother Rocky about, like, he's just gone away, really, but it's like he hasn't even got that far. He's just a bit of a loser, really, and it's kind of like he does really miss his wife, it seems, because he spends a lot of time around the grave side and anyway, so on this very colourful grave, so it's like stands out, right, she must have been a very colourful person, and lots of people
I feel like it's Rocky's been drawing on it. You know, like all these little pictures that he does, so I quite like the way that
there's incorporated like little like sketchbook, flipbook style drawings that kind of illustrate like scenarios and stuff, like at the beginning when in that montage where it's like, oh, my kid brother Rocky thinks he has superpowers or something, and it's like a bus crashes and
yeah,
and just like all the light-hearted visuals, despite it being quite a dark aspect to it. But yeah, it's kind of nice to see that kind of like childlike aspect played into it.
And I think because he's quite mute at the beginning as well, he doesn't really speak it, and it's the only way that you kind of get into Rocky as a character is through these kind of visuals of what he thinks he can see and imagine. There's also a scene when his dad's at the grave and he's pretending to use like a telescope to have a look at him, and then it's like showing his dad crying and falling into the grave. Yeah. But really colourful, so I depict that as Rocky's spending a lot of time at his mum's grave because he feels bad that he's killed his mum, basically. But,
you know, he's not like, oh, woe is me on the whole situation, but he's very much aware, as much as a child of that age can be, like, oh, I'm kind of, oh, sorry that mum died because of me type of aspect. So it's kind of like, oh, it's kind of it's bittersweet on how he's acting on that, and he doesn't maybe fully comprehend the severity of that situation, but
it's really sad though for him to feel like he's a bit of a blame.
Yeah.
And like, our mum would be here if you weren't.
But that's never really, from what I gather, Boy doesn't ever say, like, it never comes up like, oh, I wish mum was here, you're a disgrace, or
no, I don't think
Boy should never been born, kind of thing, or anything like that. So that's good. It's not, doesn't go to that level of
no. I don't think Boy is that kind of person. I don't know if the dad, that's maybe kind of implied a little bit when he apologises to his dad about it.
Yeah, but he was never there. It doesn't seem like he was there even at that point. So, well, God knows where he was.
I don't know why she actually married him. Clearly he was there 9 months beforehand because it's his child. Yeah. And then realised she was pregnant and probably dashed off again.
For whatever reason, yeah.
I think he just doesn't like stability. I think just the dad is just not grown up enough.
He's almost like, there's like an allegory with the whole, he brings up E.T. a couple of times.
Oh, yeah.
There was a film that there was that popularity at that point as well.
We actually have done a podcast if you want to go and check that one out.
Yeah. Good shout. But it's almost like he is also like a stranger or an alien in a foreign land as such, because obviously he's not really been around, he's kind of just appeared out of nowhere, really. I don't think he's really like healing with a touch of a finger or anything like that, but he's probably making things a lot worse in all aspects, kind of like clouding Boy's judgment and be like, oh yeah, I want to be just like you kind of thing and be cool and everything, but it's like the sensibilities that he's got from it is just not what it should be.
Yeah, and it's hard because you always look up to your parents and always think your parents are the ones that should show you the way and do right by you, and it's always difficult, even from whatever age, when you realise your parents are sometimes wrong. They're only human. And Boy learns that, bless him, at an early age, whereas he's quite gullible and really happy that his father figure's come back into his life. Because I think he does have that, where he has his mum and his dad. He's quite lucky to have had both and knows what that's like. And I think he's made that, romanticised that kind of having a mum and dad situation more.
Yeah, even I think the whole element of, oh, how did you two meet? Like, do you meet on the beach, whatever? And it's like, no, we met in school. I mean, that's fairly common for misconstruing small bits of information like that, as opposed to, oh, my dad broke out of prison and he killed a guy with a spoon or something, like a ninja star kind of aspect. Yeah, there's a bit of a difference there, really.
Bless him. I think that's what's quite nice about this film, because it does have a really innocent, naive aspect to it. And Boy's, in the end, he turns out to be kind of who he was at the beginning. And that's nice that he does like a 360 turn, Because initially it could go to a bit where he could become just exactly like his dad, and that would have been a bit concerning, and I don't think I'd have enjoyed it.
We got that way, yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I think that's that sort of like indie charm it has to it, really. You could have this as like as an American indie film or
Yeah.
British one, really, but I think it just the elements of that obviously make it New Zealand location and everything is kind of what makes it stand out a little bit from what other ones could have done, really.
I think it's different sceneries, it's different environment, it's the way that they
with
have
talk and
the dialogue
and stuff. Like say if you did that Michael Jackson dance, it could be a bit cringy if it was like an Americanized version of it, really.
Yeah. And I feel like this was quite raw within the way that it was shot, film-wise. Everything seemed quite simplistic. It wasn't anything more complicated than it needed to be. The lighting was
fairly natural, I'd say, yeah.
Just like sunlight,
Yeah.
but obviously they get quite nice weather.
Yeah.
And sand and dust, and I think even the simplisticness of the set, because it showed that they didn't have a lot.
In the house, especially, yeah. And so just, what was it, eating like
Noodles and
things like that, yeah, and just
microwavable meals, bless him. But he did have to do a lot. Like he had to make them, put them all to bed. He had to make them breakfast and make them tea. It's a lot to ask for a. How old do you think he was? Like 11.
I don't know. I think his younger brother was 6,
Right.
so maybe 11, going 13 and 12. I don't know. Yeah.
Which I don't imagine my 12-year-old self doing that.
No.
No.
But I think you just have to sort of, in a scenario like that, you just kind of have to thrive the best you can and just try and be the man of the house in a sense. But you can only do so much, of course, with what's there, your resources, I guess.
Yeah, but he just look after him really well, and they all rely on him.
Yeah.
And they come back to him and always like, oh, why ain't you made my tea? And he's like, oh, at one stage he's like, oh, make it yourself, you know where it is, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Trying to be a bit of a badass like his dad.
Although the mother's sister.
Yeah.
And it's like, she's sure she's got loads of jobs. She works at the shop. She works as a bus driver and the whatever and else other jobs she does. And it's like, well, are you not like round to help support him a little bit as well? You know, like
why can't you go up
next
and...
of kin of sorts? You know, when Nan's not there, the house. So I don't understand.
Like, because some of them weren't his relatives, were they? They were like
no, the ones in the house were mostly I think his cousins, but yeah, his friends, the ones who was Dynasty and Dallas were like the ones who were working in that like the weed
farm.
Plantation.
Yeah.
Field, yeah, and so that was again that sort of innocence of like way that the boy's describing it as like, oh, she's got a job, you know, helping her dad out with medication stuff or something, however he worded it, and it's obviously then showing a visual thing of just selling pounds of weed to the local gang and stuff. Whether the Dynasty knows.
I think she does.
What it actually is. But because Boy doesn't seem to know. It's like, oh, look what I found. When he shows like a handful he's picked from the field to his dad, and it's like, where did you get that? So I found it in like just over there.
But obviously he knew it was something to bring home. So he must have known sort of what it was, because he wouldn't have brought it home otherwise. But then obviously that relationship between him and her kind of gets a bit tarnished when the boy gets greedy and like, oh, well, let's just go and hack the whole bush down and we can sell it and we can make money that way. He's always one of those where it's to steal it off somebody or make a quick buck, basically. Yeah. He never wants to work for a living by the sounds of things.
Get rich quick, basically. Yeah.
And I think him and, is it Dynasty, did you say?
Yeah.
She kind of, that relationship really, I think them two are going to get together in the end. Like, if you had another sequel of this or whatever, you would see that their relationship would actually blossom and grow.
Yeah, because they're of a similar age and everything, as opposed to...
Because the other girl is older, isn't she? Yeah. It's one of those things where everybody just idolises this girl just because she's got loads of confidence when she's in school.
I think it's the younger boy and the older girl to seek out, I guess, is the...
The girl is never going to go for a younger boy. It's just never going to happen.
Except maybe in Licorice Pizza.
Yeah, but I feel like that's not in school, so she's outside of school, so that's okay. But in school, I feel like they wouldn't do that. They wouldn't go there.
No, again, sort of innocent attraction, I guess, in that sense.
So there's a bit of a scene where it's like back and forth trying to find the money, and they're basically digging up the field to find his dad's money. And Boy's adamant that he's gonna do it, and he's gonna find the money, and he's gonna take it to his dad, and his dad's gonna be so overjoyed and pat him on the back, and he'll be part of the
Crazy Horses, the gang of all 3 members,
and he'll be going on the road with his dad basically, and not having to go to school and all of that, and just living the high life in his head.
Yeah.
And sadly, it doesn't pan out that well.
I don't know what he was thinking with that, because forgot to mention the fact that he confides in this pet goat that Boy's got called Leaf, I think he says. I think with the accent, I'm not entirely sure, but I think it's Leaf. So obviously, like when he's got troubles and stuff, he's kind of like a soundboard to bounce off of, really, about what's going on and stuff. But
that's what you are to me.
And so, he finds the money, and then he kind of stashes underneath the seat of this beat up van that's kind of just no tyres on, whatever. And
I want to know how the goat did it have a door? I'm sure it had a.
Yeah, it must have done to get out, in and out of it, but.
So how did the goat got into it? I don't truly know. No, it was one of my head scratches.
Yeah, so the goat ate the money, basically. Tore it up to shreds. It's like a dog eating your homework, basically, whatever.
Yeah. And obviously he's devastated at this point, his boy, and he doesn't want to tell his dad and let him down. So he's still pretending. Yeah,
that's what he says about doing the weed instead, like, or maybe just do that instead.
Yeah.
Yeah. To make cover up for the fact, but.
It all goes down south then, doesn't it, basically? Everything goes wrong.
Yeah. And also after that fight that we mentioned before, where it's like, his dad's going to kick their asses, but he doesn't. And then the drive back, he ends up hitting the goat as well.
And he's like, it's just a dog. I didn't even realise what he'd hit.
I thought, well, you must have seen that it was like a white.
Yeah,
thing,
I
like,
did.
what else
I'm thinking, why are they saying it's a dog then? And I thought it was his goat.
Yeah.
Because he was devastated.
Yeah.
But still, that part of, it's just a stupid dog. And he gets in the car, and it's like, well, you just killed his best friend, basically, his companion.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's quite sad that, something is, again, like a sounding board and just a way to kind of make yourself feel better about what's going on. And it's kind of like, well, that's been shot to shit now. You've just ruined that aspect for me. Thanks, Dad.
I think it's cute that him and Rocky go back there and they take him.
Yeah, and bury him. And stuff. Yeah, it's something like burying the evidence in a sense. Because obviously the money's in the goat's stomach. So. Yeah,
but he does man up in the end.
Gives him something like, this is what's shredded, and that's the slapping.
I was shocked about that, actually, that he slapped his own father.
Yeah, so good on you for, like, just stop being a little whiny bastard.
Yeah, and also I think he thought, he's going to hit me. Mm-hmm. I'm going to actually hit him first.
Catch him off guard, yeah.
Yeah, and what's he going to do about it? And then that's when he was a bit, like, taken back. Mm-hmm. And after the second or third slap, I think he was like, I don't know what to do here. Mm-hmm. But I think that's what kind of calm a bit the dad in the back there, because Boy, bless him, he wanted to be all cool and, you've got loads of money. Oh, we'll buy you loads of ice creams, all my friends, and loads of sweets and everything. So he used a bit of his dad's money.
Yeah. And
obviously the dad comes up and goes, where'd you got all the money from? Yeah. Slaps his ice cream out of his hand, rips his jacket and embarrasses him in front of all his friends when he's just been trying to...
Yeah, like, oh, I'm cool and everything.
Yeah. And basically just demoralised him to nothing.
Yeah.
And I think that's when the relationship, he realised his dad isn't there for him. His dad doesn't care. And that's when he was like, well, I don't care the money. You've taken everything away from me, basically. Mm-hmm. And you can see the relationship going down the pan. And that's when Rocky seems to be like, oh, I like my dad now. Because he took a bit of time, did Rocky, to kind of gel with his dad.
I guess, and he was kind of seeing, like said before, about scoping out. Yeah. That his dad was at the graveside, so I think he's like seeing, okay, there's some remorse for the situation there. So it's not all like being an arse, really. There's something there. I'd say there's probably some kind of allegory with the whole sparklers thing as well, because it's, sparklers are, they're kind of like just little sparks of light that kind of just last for like all of a few seconds and then like fizzle out.
Yeah.
Everything. So it's kind of like the joy of having his dad there, and it's kind of like you save him for special occasions and
kind of like remind him of his dad, but also the situation of how his dad is.
yeah, it's just like a fizzle, really.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like,
it's a bright spark for a brief moment, and then it kind of just like fades away, just like
and
a
goes into
sparkle
dust.
does. Yeah.
And he disappears and goes away.
Yeah.
It's like a bit of a metaphor, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah. But I don't know if you saw it that way or
I just thought it's the only
bit of happiness that we've got.
it's the only thing his dad gave him.
Yeah, of any worth, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is sad. He didn't give him much else, did he?
Mm.
Apart from some by-road tattoos.
Yeah.
Which at that point he gets really upset and starts scrubbing him off when he's realising his dad's not all that he's cracked up to be. Which is awful when your parents let you down.
Yeah, I can't say that it's really not been that bad for us in terms of anything that level of.
But even when you're little, even if they don't show up to something they say they're going to show up to, or you know, they're late for whatever reason, when you're little, that's like the massive mountain where like, you couldn't even be there for me, like football game or I don't know, nativity play. Yeah,
that always happens in those kind of other films, though, doesn't it? Like I think of like, top of my head, like is it Jingle All the Way or something. Like, I'm going to be at the soccer game or whatever. It's I promise I'll be there, and then something crops up, and I'm really sorry, and it's
be all and end all.
Yeah. I guess the only thing I kind of like, and I don't, it's the case with any sort of films where where somebody kind of like trashes the place unintentionally.
Oh, I think
just in anger, really.
That's what I was going to say. Yeah, so it's to link him with him saying he's like the Hulk.
Ah, right, okay.
So he says, and I think that's kind of any parent in a sense. You have this lovely soft moment, and then you can get angry and you yell at them, and it's because parents. I don't think when you're a child you realise what all the crap your parents have to go through. Well, like your bills, your food, doing all the household and the responsibilities that an adult gets, and obviously if that's piling and piling up and the stress of all of that, and then bless them, a child is nagging at you as well, and sometimes you can yell at them and you don't mean to yell at them, and it's kind of like the metaphor of being a Hulk, and kind of you want to do good by them, but then you just explode.
In rage. But I'm specifically talking about obviously like when he's like kicking, tearing all the drawers out and stuff, and then punching a hole in the wall, kind of stuff, and it's like it's no need for that. I mean, they're already in bad position as it is, really.
Why are you making it worse
for him? And it's like, I mean, it didn't actually show the kids like getting scared or upset or anything like that.
They kind of just ran away.
Like, confused about why is this man, or for the cousins anyway, why is this man just trashing the place and screaming and shouting and stuff? But I guess I just don't like that. So, I mean, it wasn't, like I say, not really done in a way that was kind of distressing or anything like that, but I just don't like.
And Boy wasn't there at that point either. Yeah. So I think the older cousin went and found Boy and was like, come home, we need you.
Yeah.
But what was really sweet was then all of them as children became mini little adults, you felt.
Yeah, and putting it all together, collectively. Yeah, that's really nice. So, yeah.
And it's like, well, actually, an adult created that mess, really. He should be the one sorting it out.
Yeah, that's just how the dad is very much a child, and the kids are doing more of the adult responsibilities and stuff. I think that's probably what it's really going for, really.
Yeah, which they shouldn't really have to, because you're not a child for long.
No.
You should be childlike for them times.
Yeah, absolutely. Anything more to bring up?
I don't think so.
No, it was quite a short runtime as well, wasn't it, really?
It was.
That was nice. But I don't think it needed to be any longer.
No. It was good. Can't remember what he scored.
Well, I'll go through those now, but...
Okay, I thought you were going to make me score first.
No, it's me first anyway, isn't it?
Ha! Yes.
But I've noted down what the other two films we have covered by Taika Waititi in our podcast journey. So, Wilder People, Hunt for the Wilder People.
Yep.
We both gave 7.5.
Oh dear. Okay.
And What We Do in the Shadows, the vampire one.
Yeah.
You gave 5.
Did I?
I gave 6. I gave 6.5.
Really weird that is, but obviously I enjoy the series a lot more.
The TV series is a lot better than the standalone film, admittedly, but obviously that came after the back of the success, I suppose, of the thing, but I do enjoy that more. So I purposely noted those down to be like, okay, right, where does that fall in line with how I feel about what this has to offer, and also as Jojo Rabbit, even though we haven't covered that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like that would be a higher score for you as well from that.
So I think I would even see this one again, and I think it's lighthearted enough to warrant that, and all the aspects of it. There's nothing that's really like really cringy or anything that for me or anything like that. It's lighthearted. There's that indie feel to it. There's kind of work for me in terms of comedy aspects, and don't take itself too seriously, which is like, so good job, Taika, for doing, not making a cringy comedy.
Yeah, true.
So I'll give it an 8.
So what's the difference between the Wilder People compared to this one? That this is higher? Is it because it's quite dark?
I wouldn't say it was very dark or anything like that. I think there's just something more easygoing in a sense, what this had to offer.
Find it more endearing.
Yeah, I think there's the sort of charm to that, really, with the what it had to offer, and all the aspects with I think the dialogue, I think, in this one's strengthened it, really.
I think for me, I would have to probably put it as the same as the World of Things. Obviously, just because I think I do prefer the World of People,
yeah.
But at the same time, I think I'd want to rewatch and I'd have to reevaluate my score off the back of that.
Okay.
I just remember the boy in that was quite sweet. He was a troubled child. He had a lot going on for him, basically, and he ran away, and he was, always getting adopted, and people wouldn't look after him. And the comedy level, I don't know, it just seemed a bit more endearing in there, and he was quite a sweet boy, really, that just wanted to be loved. So I think that I felt more related to that character and just really liked him within it. Boy is a lovely character, but he's not as cute, and he's not as sweet or sincere, I guess, within it. I think he's a bit more like, oh, I'm cocky, I'm cool kind of character. And if I have to compare the two boys within it, I think I'd pick the other. But I think with what you're saying, yeah, it is lighthearted, it's easy breezy. It did make me laugh. There's not much complicatedness within it. It's easy to follow. It's not quite confusing. But it's cleverly done with the cutaway scenes of the imagination of the children. And for that aspect, I'll give it is it 7.5?
7.5, yeah.
Yeah.
And also, obviously, the imagination stuff, the very, very end, after the Rockies is like, how was Japan? And it kind of just ends there almost, but then there's like a cutaway to like a hacker-style New Zealand thriller video.
I always used to remember the hacker from when they played rugby. And they stick the tongue out and shake the head.
So like intimidation.
Yeah.
That happens a couple of times in some aspects throughout the film as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It does.
Yeah, so that's quite good.
Bringing it back to the roots of New Zealand, yeah.
No, so kind of happy you've ticked off the list, and like I say, like almost everything of his filmography we've kind of covered, or seen at least. Yeah, in some regards. So we haven't done like Thor or anything like that, but...
I've seen it though.
Yeah.
Very good.
One of them is, anyway.
Ragnarok.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right, that is that for another episode. Next time will be the Patreon pick.
Woo!
Well, you might be saying we wouldn't have got to pick out what those are.
You bully me through this Patreon. Do you know that?
No.
Yes, you do. I don't think it's fair. So now, what are you going to bully me with?
You have to find out, won't you? Next time.
My mum will tell me. That's why I got her on the Patreon. So obviously, the patrons I've already named one of them.
Yep. We've got Mark from 100 Things I Learned from Film. We've got Ben from Film Floggers. We've got our friend Jonesy, at Weight Loss Jonesy on Instagram. And Nico from The Good, The Bad and The Weird podcast. And we are scheduled to have a episode where he'll be joining us with his co-host in a few weeks. So if you would like to join our Patreon family and have your name shouted out in every single episode, and also get to pick once a month on a film we're going to cover, then you can do so by going to patreon.com/SP Filmviewers. And if you'd like to check out some of our other episodes, you can do so over on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Podbean, and wherever else you get your podcasts from.
Yeah, and fantastic news that we have reached 1,000, what is it, followers? There we go, that's the word.
on Instagram, yeah.
Yeah, so that's brilliant. So if you want to follow us and subscribe and do all of that on our social media, then we are under the handle SP_filmviewers on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook. So if you want to reach us there, then you can.
Yep.
But yeah, 1,000.
Also, pass that on Twitter as well.
Yeah, I don't know what Twitter is. So, yeah. But still.
Yeah, it's good. Good. We've finally got there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So thank
Please
you.
don't unfollow us all now, because you're like, oh, they've got there, right?
Yeah.
Do you like them?
Yeah.
You know what people are like.
Yeah.
But then we don't want them if they do that.
No, exactly. Not worthy. No, but thank you for all your support and everything through. Obviously, liking posts and commenting and all that kind of stuff. It's really nice to have a community from that, and obviously people like the stuff enough to keep coming, to keep viewing the content. So
yeah, it's true, and seeing everything that you purchase
Yeah.
through the letterbox as well. I feel like we should just do through the letterbox instead of through the keyhole.
Mhm. And lastly, if you would like to give us a 5-star review, you can do so over on Apple Podcasts, Podchaser, and wherever else they do the scoring system.
Yep, so do all of those nice things. I've quite enjoyed this one, actually. It's been light-hearted and breezy, so it's been nice.
Yeah, and then the next ones.
Don't scare me, it's not Halloween. No. Just because you missed Halloween last year doesn't mean you're dotting them all around this year. You can stop it now. He's got this really cheeky grimace on his face because he knows he's doing something horrible. Better not be mean.
Not really mean.
You're going to give me nightmares.
I don't know.
Because to be fair, we only just had one that freaked me out. I don't need another.
Oh, yeah, but that's not my fault. Well, you took it that way.
Oh, right. Is that how we're saying it's down to my interpretation now? What a cop-out.
Well, thank you very much for your time.
You're welcome.
Thank you very much for listening, and we will speak to you next time.
Speak to you next time.
Bye.
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 Bye.